wait until you see Kamala Harris crumble in the face of some hard questioning. It's glorious. In this video, we're going to see the best highlights from Kamala's recent train wreck. We're going to see what others are saying about it, and stick with me to the very end of this video because you're going to absolutely love how that Kamala train wreck interview ended. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day, I provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent and woke times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. And before we begin, I want to meet you in person, and there is no better time to do that than the next stop on our American Freedom Tour in Houston, Texas. I'm so excited to get out to the Lone Star State and see all the Turley talkers out there on January 29th. I'll be speaking with Don Trump Jr. and Kayleigh McEnany and Dinesh D'Souza and other amazing patriots. And to make it even better, after the event, I'm going to be holding an exclusive Turley Talks live Q&A. So if you're one of the first 150 people to sign up for the Houston event, you're going to be invited to hang out with me and my team on that Saturday night. You can ask your questions at the live Q&A. You can get photos together, and we can discuss the future of this nation with fellow like-minded patriots. So hurry up, get those tickets right now because those spots are limited. They're going quick. Click on that link below and register to join me, Donald Trump Jr., and other awesome patriots in Houston on January 29th. Cannot wait to see you out there. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Kamala Harris, cackles Kamala, showed the world precisely why she is the most unfit human on the planet to be vice president. I mean, most people already agree with that assessment, but now we've got ironclad proof of just how incompetent the supposed vice president actually is. Speaking to NBC's Samantha Guthrie, Harris absolutely crumbled under the pressure of a barrage of intense questioning, rare from the mainstream media. Harris was obviously shocked at the level of probing that she was getting, and it was duly noticed by a number of media outlets as well. But let's look at just how pitiful this woman Kamala is when adequately scrutinized. The interview began with Biden's astonishing comments about Ukraine at his cringeworthy press conference the other night. You remember when Biden said that a, quote, minor incursion by the Russians into Ukraine would elicit a softer response from the United States than a full-scale invasion. A minor incursion, just make sure you take a small portion of Ukraine, maybe like the Donbass region. And if you limit it to that, then hey, we're basically good. Here's Kamala, the Democrats' future hope. Here's her answer to that.
Did the president essentially give the green light to Vladimir Putin to take a piece of Ukraine, to take a bite out of Ukraine?
So, Savannah, first of all, I will tell you that I, every morning, start my morning and my day reading the Presidential Daily Brief, the PDB, which contains classified information about threats to our national security and hotspots around the world. I am often in the Situation Room with the leaders of our military and our intelligence community, and of course the President of the United States. And on the subject of Ukraine, I will tell you that the president has been very clear, and we as the United States are very clear. If Putin takes aggressive action, we are prepared to levy serious and severe costs, period. And I will tell you that part of the posture that we have taken is grounded in the respect and the value we place in sovereignty and territorial integrity,
Madam
and in
Vice
particular
President,
in this case,
I'm sorry
the
to
sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine.
Of course, and
so
I'm
we
so
are
sorry
very
to interrupt,
clear,
but
and
it is...
Yeah, dear God, stop, woman. Just stop. Seriously, guys. I mean, seriously. We respect the value. We respect the value of sovereignty. This is the woman who has yet to seriously visit the very southern border she's supposedly in charge of. The visit she made was a joke, and she was greeted by protesters with Trump won signs, by the way. As Tucker Carlson put it the other night, what if Russia were just a caravan of people looking for a better life in Ukraine? Well, then, according to Kamala, who spent her entire political career defending open borders, well, then we would need to roll out the red carpet for them and then give Russians voting rights in Ukraine, right? Ukraine being such a stellar democracy that we're so willing to defend of late. What you just heard from Kamala Harris was by definition bullshit. If Putin takes action, we're prepared to levy serious and severe costs. Yeah, right. Bumbling Biden has already made it absolutely clear that neither the United States nor NATO have any interest in actually sending troops to the region, despite the ridiculous calls for such by neocon Republicans. Remember, Ukraine is not a member of NATO. In fact, Secretary of State Blinken he threatened Russia a few weeks back. He got serious. He said if Russia even thought about invading the Ukraine, Blinken threatened Russia with, wait for it, you ready for it? Sanctions. That's right. The deep state in D.C. is threatening, oh gosh, I can't even imagine saying it, sanctions. Now, keep in mind, Russia has basically immunized itself from Western sanctions through the formation of what's called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, of which it's a part. Russia is not worried about big, bad, scaly sanctions coming from the Atlantic. And our leaders know it. Our leaders know it. Our mainstream media knows it. This is all a bunch of kabuki theater. But unfortunately, Kamala is a horrible actress. Now, it frankly went downhill from there.
Of Ukraine.
Of course. And
so
I'm
we
so
are
sorry
very
to interrupt,
clear,
but
and
it is less than clear because 30 minutes after the news conference, the White House press secretary had to actually clarify the president's remarks.
Savannah, I'm being clear with you right now.
Yes, okay.
And so if you're interested, I'll continue to be clear.
Ooh, we're getting a little testy there, aren't we? Ooh, I'm being clear now. I'm being clear. No, she's not. She literally said nothing. Every day I begin the morning with a briefing of highly classified presidential intelligence, blah, 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 blah. That's pure stonewalling. That's all a blatant attempt to eat up the interview clock with a bunch of meaningless, trivial nonsense that's designed to sound impressive when in point of fact, it's actually vacuous. And then we're going to levy serious and severe costs after Biden makes it clear that no American troops are going to be sent, and that if Putin makes only a minor incursion, then those serious and severe costs are not going to be so serious and severe. There is nothing clear or clarifying about this.
Before I leave this, Ukrainian officials reportedly heard these words from President Biden with alarm. I know the White House tried to clarify it and clean it up afterwards, but was the damage done? You can't unring the bell. Is Vladimir Putin likely to listen to a later statement from the White House press secretary or the words of President Biden?
I will repeat myself. And I'm Vice President of the United States, and the President and I work closely together, and I know his position because he has been consistent in that regard. If Vladimir Putin and Russia takes aggressive action, it will be met with a cost that will be severe.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin's really scared of rehearsed talking points from the most unpopular vice president in polling history. And so Guthrie dug deeper. She went on to the Democrats' big lie that Joe Biden pushed the other night, right?
Let's talk about another comment the president made. He openly cast doubt on whether the 2022 midterm elections would be legitimate. He said it all depends, which is astonishing to hear a president question whether our elections will be legitimate. We've heard it before, but not from this president. Is he really concerned that we may not have fair and free elections?
The president has been consistent on this issue, and the issue at hand, I was there last night in the chamber of the Senate, and the issue is that there are two bills, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, that have been the solution that has been offered to address the fact that around our country, states have put in place laws that are purposely making it more difficult for the American people to vote. Laws which will be felt by at least 55 million Americans, regardless of their party affiliation, their race, their gender, or their geographic location.
Well, to the point, though, because those bills were debated. The bills were debated and they didn't pass.
If I may finish, if I may finish.
But the specific question, if you don't mind.
Can I finish? Can I finish? We need Dana Carvey here as Ross Perot. Can I finish?
May I finish, please? Can I finish?
You see, I turned 60.
Can I complete a sentence, or you're going to interrupt me every time?
Sure,
if
but
you would stop me interrupting me, can I finish? Can I finish? Or you're going to interrupt me? Can I finish? You can interrupt me. Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
And they didn't pass.
If I may finish, if I may finish.
But the specific question, if you don't mind, does he think, now that these bills haven't been passed, that the 22 midterms won't be legitimate or fair or free?
Let's not conflate issues. So what we are looking at, and the topic of so much debate last night, was that we as America cannot afford to allow this blatant erosion of our democracy, and in particular, the right of all Americans who are eligible to vote to have access to the ballot unfettered. That is the topic of the conversation, and let's not be distracted by the political gamesmanship when what is truly at stake are issues like whether Americans with disability have the opportunity to vote by mail, whether a single parent has the opportunity with 3 kids in the back seat to vote by dropping off their ballot in a drop box instead of having to stand in line with those 3 kids for hours. These are the issues that are at stake.
And
In other words, rather than answer your question regarding the Democrats' version of the so-called big lie, I'm going to give you a load of BS right in front of your face and run out the clock before the next commercial.
you have a 50-50 tie in the United States Senate, as you are well aware. Did the administration fail to temper its initiatives to meet political reality? In other words, should you have been more willing to compromise to try to get all Democrats on board? These initiatives failed because Democrats weren't united, let alone Republicans. Was that an error as you look back on this year?
Well, when I look back on this year, I think about things like the bipartisan infrastructure law. Administrations, both Democrat and Republican, have tried for years.
Well, doesn't that show Republicans were willing to help if the initiatives were good?
But they tried for years to do what the American people want, and what the American people know is not an issue that should be thought of through a political lens. Things like upgrading our roads and bridges, things like cleaning out the lead pipes of America, because over 50% of children under the age of 6 are exposed to lead. These are the things that are part of the accomplishments that occur through a process of compromise, yes. But what ends up happening is that the American people benefit. Broadband in that law is going to be now more accessible and affordable to Americans around the country, from rural areas to urban areas.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris, I am way out of time. Next time they got to give us an hour so I don't have to interrupt and you can go as long as you want, but we are out of time. I so appreciate the back and
They cut her off. They mercifully cut her off. Man, that was a disaster of an interview, and everyone could see it. Well, bumbling Biden and Kamala Harris regime continue to implode right before our very eyes. And I gotta say, it is a most glorious train wreck to behold. Now, before you go, make sure to check out my latest video I just uploaded on woke teachers getting fired all across the nation. You're going to absolutely love it. It's going to make your day. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.